guys, welcome to Creatively Homemade. I am so glad you're here today for this latest craft tutorial. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jennifer and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I love to share creative paper crafting ideas, from handmade greeting cards to memory keeping projects to 3D items like party favors and treat boxes. So if you enjoy projects like that, be sure to hit that red subscribe button down below so you can get an update anytime I post something new. So I'm trying something new out with my channel. I want to be a little bit more consistent and let my subscribers know what to expect each week. So each Friday is when I'm going to be posting a 3D project. So I'm trying to come up with a cute little name for it, and all I can come up with so far is Favor Friday, and I'm not sure I really like that. So if you have a better suggestion, be sure to leave that in a comment below. But anyway, this is my first Favor Friday, for lack of a better name for it. And I am going to be sharing today how to make these cute little EOS lip balm favor boxes. Now, if you don't know about EOS lip balm, these are cute little egg-shaped lip balms that come in a variety of flavors and colors. And when you twist off the top, the lip balm is inside. I just love these things. The lip balm is so creamy and it works well on my winter chapped lips, and just love them. I have them all over the house and they seem to be really popular right now. So I thought I would make a cute little favor box that will hold them. You could use these as party favors, or you could use them as shower favors, or even as stocking stuffers, just by changing up the paper and the decoration. I've made one here for Christmas. So I'm going to give those to my daughters for Christmas with a little EOS lip balm in them. And as part of my new 3D series, I'm also going to be sharing a PDF tutorial with my email subscribers. Sometimes these 3D projects can be a little bit more intricate. They have a little bit more steps than just a regular greeting card or memory keeping project, so I thought it might be nice to have the written instructions. So if you would like the written instructions for this project, be sure to subscribe to my email list. The link is down in the description box below. And then sometime by the weekend, I will send out a PDF so you can print that and have the instructions on hand. So let's get started and I will show you how to put these together. Okay, so we want to start by cutting and scoring our paper. I have a piece of cardstock here that I'm going to use for the favor base, and that is cut to 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And then you're also going to need 4 little squares of Designer Series paper. I am using the Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper for this, but feel free to match up whatever Designer Series paper you want to use for your particular project for whatever theme. Each square is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and you can either cut that out with a paper trimmer or you can use a die set or a paper punch. The layering squares has a 1.5 inch square in both the regular square and the scalloped, so the scalloped gives a pretty look too, so that's what I'm using for this particular project. But like I said, cut that with your paper trimmer if you like. Doesn't matter. So then I pulled out my scoring board and we're going to prepare our base for our favor. So you want to put the short edge up at the top of your scoring board. And I do want to mention that if you don't have this scoring board, you can also use a Stampin' trimmer that has the scoring blade. If you don't have a lot of room for extra equipment, this is a nice piece to have because it has the cutting blade and the scoring blade. So it works just the same. I always use my scoring board in videos though because it's easier for me to read. So you want to put the short edge up at the top and score at 1.5 inches. And then you want to turn it the other way so the long edge is at the top. And you want to score at 1 3/4 inches, 3.5 inches, 5 1/4 inches, and 7 inches. Now, one thing I really like about this Simply Scored scoring board is it has these little markers that you can put in grooves at the top here. And that way you don't have to keep looking over at the measurements and trying to figure it out. So if you're making multiple projects at the same time, it makes it really easy to do all your scoring. So that's all the scoring we have to do, so I'm going to set this aside. You're going to need to pull out some paper snips, and we're going to use those in just a second, but first go ahead and fold along all those score lines. And you can use a bone folder to get really crisp lines if you like. I forgot to pull mine out. There we go. So now we have folded all our score lines, so we want to make a few cuts here. If you can see right down here at the bottom, this score line here is going to form the bottom edge of our favor, and this little rectangle here at the end formed between that bottom score line and this skinny score line right here can be cut away. So just cut up to that score line and then cut across. Don't need that piece. And then now the other cuts you want to make are up to that horizontal score line. So it's going to make the flaps for the bottom of your favor. So just cut up to that 1.5 inch score line. Just like that. We're going to use an envelope punch board to make the gussets for the top of the box. It makes a little notch cut out that makes this easier to fold together. So what you're going to do is we're going to turn it along the short edge, and then you want to line up the edge that doesn't have the flaps with the 1 inch mark on your envelope punch board. And you're going to be going through 2 layers, so you might have to work a little bit to get it under that punch there. Push it all the way to the back and give it a punch. And that's going to make a nice little notch, which makes this shape when you fold it open. So then fold down to the next score line and repeat that process. You're going to line that up with the 1 inch mark, which is just past this little punch mechanism, and give it a punch. And then continue repeating on all those fold lines. And then when you unfold it, do one last punch along this straight edge. So you're only going to be going through 1 layer this last time. And it's going to look like that. Okay, so now we're ready to make the embellishment for the front of the favor box. I've pulled out a scrap of Daffodil Delight cardstock, and I have my Daffodil Delight ink, and I'm going to be using the Flower Shop stamp set. This stamp set has a coordinating punch that makes cutting those flowers out super easy. So I'm just going to stamp that really quickly. Just like so. And then I'm going to grab that pansy punch, so I'm going to turn it over and slide that little locking mechanism up. The nice thing about these punches is they lock to fold flat for easy storage, but to use them you want to push that up to unlock it. And then you want to slide your paper in and turn your image so that it lines up and there's an even border all the way around, and give it a quick punch. So much easier than trying to cut that out by hand. So that's going to be our little flower for the front of it, and all I'm going to do other than that is add a little gold faceted gem. And these are self-adhesive. And so I'm going to put that right in the center. Okay, so now we have all our pieces prepped. We are ready to put our little favor box together. I've pulled out some adhesive. I have some Tombow liquid glue, and I also have some Stampin' Dimensionals. And then I've also pulled out some Daffodil Delight double stitched ribbon, but pull out any ribbon that matches whatever colors and designer series paper you're using. So let's start by gluing these little squares down to the sides of our box. And I'm just using Tombow for that. So add an even layer all the way around that square. And then you're going to put it in that area right below those notches that we cut out and center it in there between those score marks. So you want to repeat that for the rest of the sides. Okay, so here is our favor piece with all the designer series paper glued on. Now we're going to start forming our box. Anytime you're forming a 3D item, you're going to want to use a little bit more stronger adhesive than normal tape runner. So I've pulled out some Fast Fuse. It's a pretty strong adhesive and it'll stand up to some wear and tear on these 3D items. So I just want to add Fast Fuse along this little end strip here. And then you want to fold that over and line the other end up with it to form the box. And once you have it lined up, just give it a quick press to seal it. Just like that. So there's the shape of our box. And then you want to start folding those flaps in. And then just put Fast Fuse adhesive on that last flap. And press that closed. And then I recommend putting something down in the bottom there and press it around just to make sure it gets good and sealed. So there is our little favor box, and you can add your little EOS lip balm to it. It fits right down in there nicely. And then give a gentle press in on each of these sides to help them to start to go together like you want them to. And you can even like bring the two sides together and kind of press there in the center a little bit. And that's going to help that go together when you go to put the ribbon on it. Just like so. So the shape of our box is going to look like this. So then cut a length of ribbon. I've already got a scrap here that I had left over of Daffodil Delight double stitched ribbon. Okay, so you want to take that ribbon and run it in the grooves there. And then I recommend pulling it tight so it all meets at the top. And then tie a little knot right there. Because if you try to just tie a bow without tying that knot first, it's going to tend to come open, and you want that box top to stay closed. So just like that, and then tie a little bow in your ribbon. Okay. Just like that, and get those ends and loops however long you want them. And then trim the ends. And then the only other thing we need to do is add the little flower to the front. And I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that to make it pop off a little bit. Maybe I'll put 3 on there. And I'm just peeling the backing off of those. And then press that to the front of your little favor box. Isn't that cute? So here is how that finished favor turned out. So pretty with that delightful Daisy Designer Series paper and the little flower on the front. Perfect for wedding showers or birthdays or things like that. So I did want to go ahead and make a few others so that you could see how that looks with different stamp sets and different Designer Series paper. So here's the one I showed you in the beginning, and that is using the Fresh Florals Designer Series paper, and it says "You're the Best" here on the front and has a little rhinestone. This is the Christmas one. I used Quilted Christmas Designer Series paper and the Smitten Mittens stamp set to decorate the front of it. And then the last one I made is a little birthday one. It uses Birthday Memories Designer Series paper, and I adorned it with some little balloons on the front. So if you would like written instructions for this tutorial that you can print, be sure to subscribe to my mailing list. I have a PDF library on my website that is password protected and only available to my mailing list subscribers. So if you want to have access to that, be sure to sign up. The link is in the description box below. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and it's inspired you to do some crafting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.